And when you really sit down and calculate the interest rate you pay on a cash advance, it can be in the triple digits when you figure in fees and the timetable that it has to be paid back in. So we developed an express cash loan, which based on your relationship with the credit union, how deep of a relationship you have and how much your direct deposits and stuff like that is, you can qualify for up to $2,000 and you can get it anytime, day or night, middle of the night in a time like this when it's 90 some degrees outside, your air conditioning goes out. Put in an express cash loan application. You can have the money sitting in your checking account in the morning to have an HVAC person come out and help you out, and really that was designed to try to help get people out of that cycle of cash advances.
Hello and welcome back to the Community Pulse podcast. I'm Jacqueline Hutchison, Outreach Coordinator for the St. John's Area Chamber. I'm here today with Trevor Hollis, the Branch Manager of LAFCU. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Thanks for inviting me on to do this.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time. So for those who may not be familiar with LAFCU, can you tell us a little bit more about your organization and your mission?
Yeah, LAFCU, we're a state chartered credit union. So what that means, anybody in the state of Michigan is eligible for membership. There's federal charter, state charter. We're on the state side, so we really try to serve the entire state of Michigan. Based out of Lansing, our main office is on the west side of Lansing, but we have locations here in St. John's, in DeWitt, Wasso, Corunna, and then Charlotte, Eaton Rapids. We got 10 total branches, and then our main office.
Great. And so, Trevor, too, you're one of our board members, and we're so thankful for that. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience on our board and why you decided to serve on our board?
Yeah, LAFCU's one of our main missions is to serve the underserved and the people of modest means, right? So I'm very much involved in the communities, and I heard about the opening on the board, and I thought, that's another great avenue to both get LAFCU's name out there and to be able to tell stories just like this, how we can help people and help communities and be involved. I've always wanted to be involved, just nothing lined up at the time, and LAFCU came along and the board opportunity came along and it all kind of just clicked.
That's great. Yeah, and we're super thankful for your dedication, LAFCU's dedication, especially toward the Mint Fest. I know you specifically help out a lot there, so we're really grateful for that. So, two, can you kind of explain the difference between a bank and a credit union to our listeners that maybe don't know the difference?
Yeah. Credit unions are membership based, right? So you got to be a member to be a part of a credit union. And a lot of credit unions have different membership requirements. Some are state chartered, which means anybody in the state can be a member, federally chartered. Then also there are credit unions that have specific, they're called seg groups, but specific areas of employment, for example, that mean they can be members. Whereas banks, anybody can be a customer of a bank. Banks have a shareholder board. So they want to make money, right? Their shareholders kind of expect them to be profitable and to be able to get a return on the investment that they make, and that's the major difference, right? We have a board of directors that is 100% volunteer. They don't get paid. But they provide a lot of guidance for us and make sure that we're running a good organization. And I've been in credit unions right since high school, so. Yeah, I don't really want to do anything, and LAFCU's been great. They're 100% supporting the communities that they're in. You mentioned Mint Fest. Yeah, this is the third year we've been one of the sponsors of the Mint Fest, and I grew up in St. John's, so it's really cool to be able to tie those two things in. But we do so much. We have so many events at LAFCU that support the different communities we're in, from membership drives. LAFCU's been one of the sponsors of the fireworks at Lugnut Stadium since the very beginning. So any Friday night fireworks show, we have a whole list. It's a ever evolving list of events that we sponsor and participate in. I kind of wore my Moneyball shirt today. We're really big into that. If anybody has any questions about any of those, you can go to our website, lafq.com, and then the events page has a listing of everything we're involved in.
So home affordability is a huge topic right now. Any secrets you can share with homeowners that are either entering the market or have been in the market?
Well, I mean, secrets, no. I would be remiss if I didn't take a second to talk about one of our products. It's a 10-6 ARM. So what it is it's a mortgage product. And a lot of people will use it maybe as an option for like a bill consolidation. You got a lot of bills, you want to, get a better interest rate. Credit cards out there are, anywhere from 18 to 24%. 10-6 ARM is a really great option. It's a 10-year fixed rate, and then at year 11, it adjusts. So really unique to LAFCU. We're one of the only places that I've ever heard of that offers a product something like this. But that's a great one. The way that the pricing works on it is it's a 1.25% off of the prime rate you would get for a 30-year mortgage based on your credit score, right? Great option for consolidating debt. Maybe you wanted to work on a home remodel or something to do at home, then you could look at maybe pulling some of your equity out of your house in that way too. So very popular. We've been running it for a while. I myself decided to do it as well. So kind of put my money where my mouth is, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that sounds great. Any places people should be putting their money? Anything you can share with us there? Are there any other programs that, you think our listeners could take advantage of at LAFCU?
Yeah, CDs. CDs are the safest way. Right now, rates on the shorter term CDs are great. We have some awesome perks to our CDs at LAFCU. We have a youth CD that you can start with as little as $50, right? Just open your savings account with your $5 membership, and then you can open a youth CD for with as little as $50. One of the things when we talk about CDs, a lot of places you have to start with a minimum of $500, or if it's a jumbo CD, you start with a minimum of $10,000. That's
The
like
more you know, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
like I said, we're here to serve the members of modest means, right? And we know that sometimes asking for that big of a commitment right off the bat might be a barrier to a really good opportunity to save some money. So for, like I said, our youth CDs, $50 contribution to the CD. You can't lose money on a CD. You potentially, if you have to withdraw it earlier, could pay a penalty, but most people don't. And then on our jumbo CDs, where a lot of other financial institutions make you start at like $10,000 just to open it,
Mhm.
we're $1,000. So you can really get the benefits of a good dividend rate on your certificates. And we run specials from time to time. And we're coming off a pretty cool one a few months ago, and that was incredibly popular. For guaranteed earnings, a CD is a great way to do it. You can't lose on it. You just earn your dividends. Again, if you go to LAFCU.com, it kind of goes over a scenario called laddering, where you don't put all your CDs into one term. So like you don't open five-year CDs. You open a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year, and a 4 year CD. And then as money matures, you can look at rates. It basically gives you some flexibility when rates change.
And for people, like me that, am learning so much, is there a way that either we can go online and learn more about this? Is there somebody at the branch that we could talk to that could walk us through these kinds of investments and programs that you have?
Yeah, LAFCU.com would be, if you're at home looking at things, that would be the first thing that I would do. But we also, all of our SMSRs in the branches are very knowledgeable. They can help you out with any of that. If you're looking to do something maybe a little bit more involved, we do have an investment services person
Okay.
at LAFCU. His name's Russell Dawson. He's awesome. I've worked with him even before LAFCU at another credit union, but he can help with things like estate planning, and especially as you get towards that retirement age
Hmm.
and you want to start thinking about what's my lifestyle going to be like when I retire. A lot of people don't think like that. They think I put in my 65 years of working, I'm ready to retire,
Hmm.
right? But what is Social Security? What's your income going to look like on just Social Security? Go in and see him now, because you can start planning for that. You guys can develop a plan to make sure that your standard of living doesn't change at a
Yeah.
period in your life where you really should just be enjoying life. You can even come in and talk to one of the employees, and they can set up a meeting with Russell.
So, what are there any other resources LAFCU has to offer to help improve their members' financial wellness beyond traditional banking?
Oh yeah. So a couple of things actually. One of the things that I'm really proud of that LAFCU was one of the leaders in is, you get it at other places, you might get like a 32 or $35 overdraft fee. So that cup of coffee, instead of costing you $8, now it costs you $40 because of the overdraft fee. LAFCU lowered our overdraft fees to 99 cents, right? We looked at the situation and we thought, we don't want to make money off of the backs of the people that can sometimes not afford it, right? So we got rid of the $32 overdraft fee, 99 cents, and it's been a game changer. I mean, we had other financial institutions reaching out to us saying, "What are you doing? How are you doing this?" And it's not, it's just because it's the right thing to do,
Mhm.
right? It's we live our mission to help the underserved and the underbanked and the people of modest means, and that was our guiding light in making that decision. So That was one option. The other thing is our express cash loan. So you hear a lot about cash advance places, and a lot of people use them. And when you really sit down and calculate the interest rate you pay on a cash advance, it can be in the triple digits when you figure in fees and the timetable that it has to be paid back in. So we developed an express cash loan, which based on your relationship with the credit union, how deep of a relationship you have and how much your direct deposits and stuff like that is, you can qualify for up to $2,000, and you can get it anytime, day or night, middle of the night. In a time like this, when it's 90 some degrees outside, your air conditioning goes out, put in an express cash loan application. You can have the money sitting in your checking account in the morning to have an HVAC person come out and help you out, and really that was designed to try to help get people out of that cycle of cash advance places,
Mhm.
because they'll get a cash advance and then they will pay it back, get another one, and it just never ends. So there are financial institutions, and I lean into the political advocacy at the credit union a lot. And that's one of the things that we heard from our state lawmakers when we asked them, what are you doing to keep these predatory cash advance places under control? And our lawmaker looked back at us and, what are you doing? You guys are the ones that have the financial resources. So that was an eye-opening moment, and kind of one of those times where, yeah, you're right. Let's figure out an answer for this and try to get people the help that they need to get out of those cycles. Yeah.
That's really great. If someone listening today only remembers one thing about LAFCU, what would you want them to remember?
I would want them to remember that we're here to help them, right? We're people helping people. That's the greater credit union mission, and I probably said it 3 or 4 times. We're here to serve the underserved, the underbanked. We just want to help people make their financial dreams come true. We have a really cool program for folks that, you talked about mortgages earlier, and one of the barriers, sometimes a barrier is your credit score.
Mhm.
And maybe you don't qualify for the products that are really going to benefit you, a first time home buyer or whatnot. We have programs that we help people go through to improve their credit score. It's Pathway to Financial Freedom. And it's a comprehensive course that teaches them things like budgeting, making a budget, sticking to a budget. It teaches them the what goes into calculating a credit score and how credit cards can impact that, on-time payments. And it actually has a curriculum and a graduation ceremony, cap and gown and everything. So
Oh, how
so
special.
people have increased their credit score by 100 points, which gets them the opportunity to buy a house
Mhm.
or a car, gets them their first loan after a bankruptcy or a divorce or one of those terrible life situations that happen. And that's who we're here to help, is people that might not be able to get the help they need at other places, right?
Yeah.
Banks can community banks are kind of credit union-y,
Mhm.
but some of the bigger banks, they might not give you the time of day if you don't fit into this perfect little square box that they've carved out. And that's really who we want to help. Their stories are the most powerful things that keep me motivated in this industry.
Are there any misconceptions you hear about LAFCU or banking at a credit union versus a bank?
Well, yes, again, leaning into the political advocacy stuff. Of course, the banks will go to Washington and to the state capitol, and they want credit unions to pay taxes, right? But what they're not telling the rest of the story, we do pay taxes, right? The only tax we don't pay, because we're a not-for-profit organization, is an income tax. And what we do is we reinvest that money back into our communities through sponsoring the Mint Fest, being part of the local chambers or the Rotary clubs in our communities. That's what we do to try to make things better for the communities that we serve. We're not trying to avoid paying that by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't have to answer to shareholders, and who we answer to are our members and our board.
Mhm.
And that's what is important to us.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I saved that question for last because I definitely am super thankful. The chamber's so thankful for LAFCU and your sponsorship for the Mint Fest, as well as being on the chamber. We're so appreciative of everything that you guys do for us.
Well, I just want to put a plug in. If anybody listening is looking for work, we're always looking for good help at LAFCU. Go to our website, put your application in. That's one thing. And if you're just looking for a new banking option, That's another thing is it never hurts to look around, right? It's like they say with car insurance. You should always be kind of checking every 6 months for car insurance. Take a look at what your interest rate is, a mortgage. If maybe it's been a few years since you looked at your mortgage, come in and see somebody and we'll at least look at it for you
Mhm.
and say, yeah, you're doing okay, or we can save you a lot of money. In a lot of cases, especially with auto loans or credit cards, we can save people a lot of money with balance transfers for lower interest rates and low fees. Auto loans might be able to knock a couple percentage of points off if it's been a while, type of thing. The economy is a little rough right now,
Yeah.
so we all navigate that and trying to help people through that. That's what we do, investing in different foundations that we've started. We LAFCU started a foundation in South Lansing. It's called Stable Communities, and it's financial education for those communities that just don't have a lot of those resources. And they do a ton of grants and looking at businesses, maybe a startup business. The story that comes to mind is Mr. Leslie's Cheesecakes. If you've ever
Oh,
been there, yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
that's a success story that we were a big part of. We gave $10,000 to a organization last year that builds homes for returning veterans. So we had a golf outing, and the capital area chapter of credit unions made a contribution to that organization. And I think they've already used it to build a number of homes. They were actually featured on Channel 6 News
Oh, wow.
showing kind of what they do. So those are the cool things that we get to invest in.
Yeah, so it seems like you're not just helping, a family or just a one person, you also help small businesses.
Yeah, yeah, we're very engaged in commercial lending, and again, another example, Bank of America, if you're not looking for $500,000, they might not it might not fit their business.
Mhm.
Come to a credit union, come to LAFCU and talk to our commercial lenders, and they will walk with you through SBA options and different things like that. That's where we want to be, is helping the small business, startup businesses, just folks that just need that little push.
Mhm.
And that's where LAFCU comes in.
Perfect. Okay, well, you heard it here. Go see Trevor and his team at LAFCU. And, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here
Yeah.
today.
Thanks for the invite. Appreciate having us on and letting us tell our story.